pre-show preparation, because you're familiar with that. But I am just about ready to be introduced, go into the hall, and as is always my customary habit, take a look at a couple of things before I go. So, we'll see you inside.
Oh, good to see you all, yes? I'm so glad you could come out here. I'm sorry, my dear. Did I interrupt you?
For those of you who don't know this man, Teddy is our 26th President of the United States. He has just completed his second term as President, and he is going to reflect back on his triumphs as well as his failures, primarily during his years in the White House.
Primarily my successes.
Without further ado, Eddie.
Why, thank you very much, my dear. Yes, good evening here. So good to see everyone out tonight. Yes, I'm glad you could come here, but, sir, you are in your underwear there. Yes, I should have long earrings on. Yes, indeed. Well, allow me to tell you, I have just returned myself from one of the most fascinating, most exciting and exhilarating safaris. I went out with my son Quentin, you see. Had to get out of the war. It was devastating, and most countries were allied with one side or the other. The longer this went on, the more it looked like they would be invested in it or involved, so to say. This wasn't something any of these countries wanted. So they wanted some power to come and negotiate peace between these dunderheads, so to say. They did not like each other. They despised each other with every ounce of their blood. Well, I volunteered to let the United States stand in judge and jury and negotiate a fair settlement between these two powers. Now, I would have given this to my Secretary of State, but however, he had just died recently, so couldn't do the job himself. So I volunteered to do it. I was doing many other things at the time, President of the United States. If anyone can do it, he can do it. So I invited delegations, the Japanese delegation and the Russian delegation, to come and meet with me at one of the most magnificent places alive, the White House in Washington, D.C., where I would make them guests and I would be their host, and we would negotiate together within this wonderful, friendly confine of its own. You know, I couldn't even get them into the same room with each other. No, this perplexed me to no end. How can we negotiate peace if you won't even talk with each other? So I came up with another idea. I shall bring them up to my own personal mansion. It was a wonderful house I had built for my first wife. It was right on Oyster Bay. And how appropriate, I called it Sagamore Hill, after Chief Sagamore of the Indians, who used to negotiate peace councils right there on that same hill. It was kismet. It was fate. I was to negotiate peace between world powers on the same hill that natives had negotiated peace centuries before. This was all worthwhile. So I brought them to my house, and you know what? It still wasn't small enough of a room. I still couldn't get them into the same confines. No, they found ways to hide away from each other and negotiate absolutely nothing. Well, they're not going to get the best of Theodore Roosevelt, no sirree. Like my father said, hit the line, hit it hard. Go around it, go over it, go under it, but don't, whatever you do, avoid it. If you have to, go straight through it. So I was going to find a way to attack this problem the proper way, and I did. I decided pressure was up building. We need some relaxation. How fine a relaxation we could have if we were to just go about on the presidential job. I'm tired of correcting them of that issue back in the States, so I finally, yes, I charged up San Juan. But I really charged up Kettle Hill, took the hill strategically, and then started to lay down fire to open up a clearing for the regular army. I was so exhilarated from the fight itself that I immediately hopped back on my horse, charged down the hill. About halfway down the hill, realized no one was coming with me. It wasn't that they were afraid, ladies and gentlemen. I turned around, brought the horse back up to the top, and said, "Why in thunderation aren't you coming with?" And they said, "Colonel, you haven't given us the orders to charge." They listened to me specifically, and I said, "Well, then, my thunder, charge!" We charged back down Kettle Hill, leaving some men behind to strategically place it, and we covered that flank as they did take San Juan Hill. We came up San Juan Heights, the hill off to the side, secured that location, and unfortunately, within those battles, the other officers had passed away. They'd been killed. Now, I was the highest ranking officer, and I was a volunteer myself. So I ended up running the army for about 5 days before they could get someone else in there. Yes.
And then me and my regiment were taken back to the States to be quarantined for about 6 weeks. I spent about a week in battle and 6 weeks in the States waiting for release to make sure that we hadn't brought anything back with us. And that was it. I become the hero of the charge up San Juan Hill. But now you will all know that it wasn't San Juan, it was Kettle Hill. Yes. I didn't have to charge up San Juan. By that point, we'd secured the city itself. But that's a technicality, and it sounded so much better. Charge up San Juan Hill. Everyone knew what San Juan was. They knew that was the main piece of land we wanted. So of course I charged up San Juan Hill. Truth be told, if I charged up San Juan Hill, I probably would have been like all the other officers. I'd been lying there dead. Yes, so it was bully for me for going up the other hill. But it was important to be up that hill.
Tom Hoffman and I just saw Terry Lynch at the Dyer Historical Society portraying Teddy Roosevelt. And it was a great time. He does a great job. Catch him wherever you can. You'll enjoy it.
Well, thanks, Tom. I hope you had a good time. And he's going to come back and see me come December.
Exactly.
And I grow a nice long white beard and I put a wreath in my hair. Well, thanks a lot. Glad you had a good time.
I did.
Thank
you.
you.
All right.